back with Focus Delaware. I have the honor and pleasure of introducing to you Patrick Stoner. I'm going to take a deep breath and read you some of his background credentials. It includes temporary theater manager and acting teacher at the University of Delaware Department of Theater, a PhD student in theater at City University of New York Graduate Center with only a dissertation remaining, and he's also an announcer for WJBR AM and FM, but tonight he's here in his capacity as film and theater critic for Channel 12. Did I get it all in?
I hope so. You did that very well, Bob. You really ought to be on TV.
Oh, thanks, Pat. Now, how did you get started as a critic for WHYY?
Well, we moved to this area because my wife got a job at the Winter Museum as the Paintings Conservator, and I found myself here, and I said, what am I going to do in this area? I had a background as a director, producer, and actor, and while I was over at the University of Delaware as a doctoral intern managing a theater just for 1 year, I decided I'd approach Channel 12. You need a critic. How about me? I have a background in it, both academically and professionally, and for some bizarre reason, they bought that. That was that.
So, how did you conceive your movie review concept, and how would you describe what goes into it?
Well, as you know, Bob, when you usually have reviews on the air, it's some kind of hodgepodge of very short pieces. 4 stars for Breaker Moran, but only 2 stars for Scavenger. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be able to give the kind of depth criticism that the newspapers and the magazines can do. Well, you can't quite do that in TV, but at least you can give a shot at it. So what I asked for was one, at minimum, 2-minute spot. We began with 2 minutes for a theater piece, for a film piece, and then over the 2.5 years I've been doing it, it sort of expanded into 3 to 3.5 minutes.
Now, you brought a short clip from last night's movie review.
That's not true. You stole that clip, Bob. Tell them the truth.
We stole it.
That's right.
Why don't you tell the viewers what they're about to see right now?
Well, let's see. I think you're only going to see the back part of this review now. It was a comparison of the Saturday Night Live alumni and why they can't make good movies. I compared modern problems to Neighbors. I think the part that you have here is only going to be the Neighbors part. Let's find out.
Let's see that now.
Neighbors, on the other hand, has some genuinely funny and horrifying moments in it. Belushi, the most talented of the Saturday night crowd, plays the dull suburbanite to perfection, and Aykroyd's menacing, sleazy, but somehow fascinating new neighbor is the motive force in the first half of the picture. I stress the first half because this film completely falls apart in the second half. Everyone has fantasies, whether they are fear of on and off lunatics like Aykroyd, or that other kind fantasy, which is exploited with terrific effect by Kathy Moriarty, the crazy neighbor's crass but tempting wife. When this movie explores the black comedy of the straight family's mental torture by their bizarre neighbors, it's quite good. But then it breaks down. A gripping concept that exhausts itself too soon. And I think that's the basic problem with the movies created by the powerful Saturday night alums. They are sketches, not fully developed screenplays. They work best in short scenes, much as the short sketches on TV worked. Now, if Chase, Aykroyd, and Belushi had less power, perhaps more mature talent could help them create the good films they could be making. I'm Patrick Stoner for Channel 12 News.
Well, you showed your adept and proficiency at doing movies, but you also get a chance, I understand, to interview the stars as they come through the area. You want to share and impart some of your experiences?
Well, let's see. We mentioned Saturday night. Let me tell you the worst experience I ever had. Gilda Radner came through town with a show called Lunch Hour. A lot of big-name people involved with that show, of course. She was one of the stars. I got this call from the people at the Playhouse doing the public relations saying, would you come over and do an interview with some of our people that are coming through town? I said, well, sure, Gilda Radner's a big name. I'd be delighted to. And they said, okay, fine. So I kept getting these calls. Are you coming over to do the interview? Are you coming over to do the interview? Finally, I go over there. No, I'm sorry, Gilda can't meet with you this afternoon. They've called an extra rehearsal. Pack up all the equipment, go back to the studio. We go back again when they call us again. Once again, Gilda couldn't. Back for the third time. By this time, I was getting just a little bit irritated. And the last thing that I heard was, Gilda needs an hour and a half to prepare for a TV interview. I'm sorry, she only has about an hour. She can't do it.
Boil point.
Yes, well, I interviewed the producer and her co-star, Sam Waterston, and that was that. But I suppose the best experience I've had was with Kevin McCarthy, who came through town with a terrible show. I had to bomb the show, but I enjoyed talking with him very much, that veteran actor. And the one I enjoyed doing most was probably Ginger Rogers, just because I'm a great fan of the movies of the 30s. So to be able to make contact with Ginger Rogers as a live person, have a little fun with her was a lot of pleasure.
What do you think of the quality of theater in this area?
Well, it's improving. I think we have to say that, and I think you'd probably agree with that, Bob. And we have the Delaware Theater Company now. That's improved the quality right there.
Yes.
Right over the line, I consider it part of this area. We have People's Light and Theater Company in Malvern, Pennsylvania. They are an excellent group. They were named Best in Philly. They're in Malvern, Pennsylvania. That might give you some idea of the state of Philadelphia theater if they have to go out to Malvern to get the Best in Philly. But in any event, I think also the two, Delaware Theater Company and the People's Light and Theater Company, those two perhaps have encouraged all the other groups to pick up a little bit their own quality.
Now, what are the standards that you would apply to reviewing the local theater? Obviously, you can't be as critical as a New York critic.
No, I would certainly hope not. It seems to me that people who go to a regional playhouse, especially one like a dinner theater, for example, they know exactly what they're going to see, and they are not demanding the same quality of theater that they might if they were going to the Guthrie or if they were going to the Long Wharf or wherever. So I attempt to be realistic and merely take these people on their own merits. I hope that I make that very clear to the people out there. For a dinner theater production, this is or is not very good. For a small regional theater with a very small budget, this is or this is not very good. But to compare them to the million-dollar productions that sometimes come through the Playhouse, I think would be unfair.
It would be unfair.
Yeah.
Now, Patrick, what qualifies you to be a critic? I'll put you on the spot.
Beats me, Bob. I suppose, I'm glad you asked that. When I first started doing reviews for Channel 2, I expected the phone to go off the hook. Why is he on there? What gives him the right to offer these outrageous, sometimes, opinions? Nobody ever said a word. They, for some reason, assume that if you're on the air, maybe you get this too. There's some reason you're there. We both know there's no reason that we're here. We just... Well, I have a background both professionally as a director and actor and a producer, and also I've got a master's degree in drama. I almost have a doctorate in drama, and I have a deep and abiding concern for the future of theater in this country, and I mean that in every sense, and so I think that qualifies me to be.
Not only do you have a theater background, but you have extensive background in radio and some TV too, correct?
Yes, that's true. The TV was primarily on the acting side, I suppose. I did a brief bit on Love of Life a few years ago, which was a fascinating thing in and of itself, just the way soap operas are done. And at night, during the same period, I played Claudius in Hamlet in New York in a small production downtown. So the soap opera, which pays very good money, sort of financed the traveling deep into the downtown havens of New York.
Well, Patrick, you provide a real service to this community that ordinarily would not exist. I don't know of anyone else who does such a quality job, or anyone that even attempts to do the job that you do.
Well, that's kind. Not true, but kind.
This is Patrick Stoner, Channel 12, movie and theater critic. We want to thank him for being off Focus Delaware.